Genshin Impact has a total of 65 playable characters as of 3.5. Not all these characters are created equal. Some characters are really strong and can absolutely destroy enemies, while some are forgotten because of their power. The nice thing about this is that it's your choice what characters you play. You can play a character that's considered not good. You can also play a character that's really good. In the end, it's all your decision. But what if you were limited in the characters that you can use? What if you slowly lost characters that you were using and were only left with a select few? That's the question I wanted to answer in this playthrough. Here are the rules. After every Archon quest, I have to randomly generate a character to die. A character that has died cannot be used to deal damage or activate any puzzles. All characters, weapons, and artifacts are allowed, and co-op is also allowed, but I can't abuse it. What we want to do early on is try and get as many characters as we can for the late game, because there are a lot of Archon quests back to back. There's no real strategy to that plan, we just need to get lucky. Before I start, I want to say that this challenge idea was inspired by AstralSpiff's FNAF World video. Now let's see if you can beat Genshin Impact while losing a character after every Archon quest. First thing we have to do is beat Act 1 of Monstadt. Here we get a lot of characters for free, but we also get some free pulls that you can use to get more characters. Everything before you unlock Wishing isn't really relevant to bring up, except for the fact that we got the Traveler and Amber. Once we unlock Wishing, we decided to wish on Noelle banner. Oh my god, we actually got a second character from the Noelle banner? I'm glad it was also a forgotten character. I like using characters that don't get a lot of attention, like Sayu in physical damage only. It will definitely take some getting used to because I've barely used Chongyun. In fact, I used to not like him before I did his hangout event. Now I actually quite like him. We also get Noelle, who I predicted to be useful. Our first real challenges in Act 1 at Monstadt is the 3 domains. First was Amber's domain. We used Chongyun to clear up most of the enemies and use Amber for the Pyro Monument. Next we did the Skip and Lisa's domain, and lastly it was Kaya's domain. We once again used Chongyun to destroy the domain. This happens in every playthrough with the team. Early on there will be a character that vastly outperforms all the other characters, then it ends up evening out throughout the playthrough. That's the end of Act 1, which means we must lose a character. This was perfect. The only place in the game where pyro is necessary is the cooking pot in Monstadt during Act 2 of Liyue. Actually, you don't even need pyro because you can use Animo to swirl the pyro flowers beneath the pot. I also wasn't planning on using Amber because... obviously. Now we have to get to AR10 to continue to Act 2. I did a lot of Adventure Handbook challenges to get AR pretty quick. That gives us a lot of Primo Gems, so let's see what we got. Great. Not only is that not a character, I also don't have any bow characters. And the only one I had would not have paired well with this weapon. After doing Kaya's story quest, we reached AR10 and we were rewarded with 10 wishes. Benoy is a great character to get. Not only can he heal and buff, but he also gives us reliable pyro damage. Now that I think about it, I've been slandering Amber a lot in these challenges. It's not like I dislike Amber's playstyle, she's just kinda underwhelming. You know what? For this injustice, in the next team challenge, I will use Amber. We still have a few more polls, so let's use them. I guess it's just a trend for me to get characters that just did a solo challenge within the next challenge. Diluc in physical damage only and Hazo only, and now Hazo when a character dies. I decided to make Benoy a buffer and Hazo a swirler. Lisa's here as a placeholder for another character. I took a break from this challenge to finish another challenge, But when I came back, I had a few wishes and I was ready to get a new character. Believe it or not, this is exactly what I wanted from this banner. As one of the 2.3k people who actually really like Dory, she was the main character that I wanted from this banner, including 5 stars. Dory is one of my favorite Sumeru characters, and I will not debate anybody on that. Not sure what I'll make her right now, but I'll replace Lisa for Dory. Now we can start Monstadt Act 2. We fight the Eye of the Storm at Windrise, who Dory was actually able to knock down. They were all able to take it down with essentially no problems. We meet D. Luke.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh! No, it's not what it looks like! It's not what it looks like!
And then we do the Fatui hideout, where we use D. Luke a lot. Hey, don't blame me, he's my favorite character. After that, we need to get 3 teardrop crystals from various locations. The first one we get is one that requires a Ruin Guard. We took it down with barely any hits. Next we do the domain, and this was pretty easy as well. I was able to use Swirl for Heizo and Melt from Chongyun to get rid of the Abyss Mage's shield pretty fast. Lastly, we raided a hilly trail camp at Dory. She probably wanted to pawn off what she found, but we couldn't allow that.
Has been unconducted, not done to be done, to be not done.
Sadness, why speaks of your that's size. Says so. Why do I see saddening for the long your yearning? I speaks of your sadness. Why do I see the sadness in ice? Sadness.
That's Act 2 complete. That means we get to spin the wheel again. I decided to record my reaction from here on out. I'm scared. Alright, let's see who it's gonna land on. I would have been happier if it landed on Lisa, because I like Kaya a lot, but I'm not using him, so this will be fine. During this AR grind, I decided what everybody's role was going to be in the team. Hazel would be used for triggering Swirl, Benoit would be used for healing, Dory would be used as the main DPS. I'm not joking. And Chongyun would be used... I ran into an interesting challenge during Amber's story quest. Since I couldn't use Amber because she died and I had no other archer, I had to find another way to knock down the hilly trails. I ended up having to kill them with the projectile shots from Dory's elemental skill. She might be useful. The only real use I see for her is as a character I can sacrifice. After a lot more grinding, we get another 4-star.
Adventure team, assemble!
Who knows? She could be useful. We don't have any Dendro character right now, and I don't want to use Dendro Traveler because, hot take, I don't think they're that good. After an insane amount of grinding, we're at AR 18 and we can start Act 3. All the fights before Dvalin were pretty underwhelming. The Hydro Abyss Mage was shut down by Chongyun and all the rest were basically just destroyed by Dory. I would like to take back my joke about Dory being strong. Now we can cover the Dvalin fight, which I didn't record. For some reason I stopped recording at some point before Dvalin, and I ended up not recording the rest of the Monstadt Archon quest. Oopsie. Dvalin really wasn't that interesting. We took down his shield with Venti and deal the damage with Dory. For completing that, we get Barbara. I decided screw it and replaced Hazo with Barbara. The reason I replaced Hazo is because I can't get Oni Kabuto or Runic Fangs. With Act 3 complete, we can spin the wheel again. I don't think I'm ready for this one. God damn it! God damn it! Oh no! Oh no. Benoit was one of the characters I was really looking forward to using for a while, but it seems my dreams of using Benoit will have to be fulfilled on my main account. But our replacement was coming soon for Benoit. Layla is an alright character to get. Her shield is pretty strong if you build it right, and we're getting into the part of the game where enemies can actually be a problem. We also got Zhangling from doing Spiral Abyss, and while I don't plan on using her right now, I plan on using her later. We were able to completely destroy Andreas in Razor's story quest, and when we fought him after it, it didn't go as well. Mostly because I'm stupid and used Barbara's elemental skill a lot, so I kept getting frozen. Also, at some point during this AR grind, I got Kuching. I might use her at some point if I lose somebody like Dory. After claiming the rewards from Andreas, we can start Liyue Act 1. What we have to do during this quest is tell all the Adepti about the death of Pex Tapis. At Mooncarver's place, we were able to destroy the Monolith by causing superconduct with Layla's burst and Dory's elemental skill. After that, we saved this guy's brother from the Amber and completely skipped Cloud Retainer's domain. In Zhao's part of the story quest, the fight against the Ruin Hunter was absolutely embarrassing. It only got off one attack before it died. At this point of the playthrough, everything has been pretty easy. We only really had one loss that hurt. Our characters are strong and taking out all challenges easily. Dory's basically carrying the team right now, and I've been realizing that I actually find her playstyle fun. Anyway, now that we've completed Act 1, we can get to spin the wheel. There's only 1 in 3 chance of it killing a character I'm using right now, so I'm pretty confident. I'm scared. No, 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 damn it. Oh my god. That's the one I didn't want. That and Barbara. And Chongyun. Come on, man. What the fuck? This is possibly the worst character I could have lost. She was the character I wanted to use in this playthrough the most, and she was my main DPS. Her damage outscaled all other characters' damage tenfold. But now she's gone and I can't use her anymore. You have some pretty big damn shoes to fill, Kuching. The worst thing about me using Kuching is now I have 2 characters that take Core Lapis. The most fun thing to farm. The first fight in Act 2 is at the cooking pot. We use Hazo to heat up the cooking pot, and the hilly trolls are easy to take down. Kuching's elemental skill is useful for the Geosama troll. Next was the Gilf's teapot, which I had to do twice because the first time I completed it, I exited it too early. That was fun. Next we have to go to the Guizhong Ballista to take out some treasure hoarders, and I think I should never bring Layla near the Guizhong Ballista.
I'm sorry, Professor.
This feels familiar. After the date with John Lee, Act 2 was over, and we get to spin the wheel again! Yeah! We're spinning the wheel again! This is the first time I haven't gotten any new characters since... Woo! That's the best one it could have been. Let's go. Especially after a loss like Dory last time. This is much better. Of all the Electro characters we have, this one was probably the best we could lose. I had no intentions on using her either way. There's nothing really worth commenting on the AR28 grind, but I did start using Zhangling in the middle of this AR grind. At the start of Act 3, we use Hazo to trigger the puzzle that requires Anemo, and then we go to the Guizhong Ballista to fight the Millilith. Much like Dory did before her, Kuching is carrying the team. Chongyun's damage is okay, Zhangling's damage is below average, Barbara's damage is expected, but Kuching's damage is in a league of its own. Now we have to meet with John Lee and sing to some flowers. After that we have to fight Chile. You would expect this to be a bit more difficult than it usually is, because our main DPS is Kuching. But this was quite the opposite. We were able to completely destroy Chile in all phases using Chongyun and Kuching. Next was Osile, and do I even need to tell you that this was easy? Act 3 is over, and now we need to spin the wheel. I'm way more ready for this spin than I was the other ones. Whew. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. I can deal with losing Layla. We didn't really need Layla. We could have lost somebody that was worse, But at least it wasn't Keqing or Changyan. Now we're coming to a dangerous part of the playthrough. We now have 2 Archon quests to do in quick succession, those being the Jade Chamber quest and the Dainsleif quest. Both of these quests were super easy, so I don't even feel like they're worth going into. I'll just show you the deaths that resulted from these quests. First was the Jade Chamber quest. Let's go! Alright, we're safe for now. While I was happy at the time, in retrospect I realized a bow character is really important to have. The archery demonstration in Inazuma Act 2 is something we need an archer for, so I hope we can get another archer before then. I have conflicted emotions about this one. On one hand, I wasn't using her. Dendro is a required element for Act 4 of Sumeru, so now my only Dendro character is the Traveler, which is a problem. Kale wasn't nearly as important as I was making her out to be. You don't actually need a Dendro character to get past the Dendro pillars in Act 4 of Sumeru. All you need to do is grab a Dendro Granum and quickly teleport back to the pillars. With those quests over, we can start the prologue quest for Inazuma, which was another easy quest. If we had lost the Traveler before this quest, we might have had to break a rule, but we didn't, so we could clear this without bending the rules. The only thing significant about completing this quest is that we have to spin the wheel! I am confident that my luck has run dry. It saddens me, because she's been on the team for quite a while, but she was the character I was using the least in the team. Losing Barbara sucks, because I was using her, but honestly of all the characters I was using, she was probably the one I was fine with losing the most. Her heal was useful, but the Hydro application every time I used her elemental skill was annoying, especially against enemies like Andreas. Now we can start Inazuma's Archon quest. The transport mission was simple, and now we have to do a bunch of running around in Inazuma. But before I did this, I really wanted to get a 5-star. I passed Soft Pity on Event Banner, and I was hoping for Nahida or any other standard 5-star that I didn't have. After a lot of grinding for Primo Gems, we finally got our 5-star. I'm gonna wait until the next banner period. I need to guarantee new characters because we are running out of characters to lose. The minimum number of characters I need to beat this challenge are 19, and we currently have 16. Also, before you ask, this challenge is not going into Fontaine, because I don't hate myself. Until then, I'll grind stuff like AR and Primo Gems. When we return to this challenge, we have 23 pulls and a dream. During the break, I got Xingqiu and did the Ascension domain for AR35. All I hoped to get from this banner was at least 2 new characters. What we got instead was... four new characters. Perfect. One of them wasn't even on the banner. I was really lucky to get all of them. Anyway, we have to finish the rest of Inazuma Act 1, which shouldn't be that difficult. The last bit of combat we have to do for this quest is breaking somebody out of jail. We were able to combine Xingqiu's burst and Changyin's elemental skill to freeze all the enemies. That's it for Act 1, which means we have to spin the wheel. I'm feeling extra nervous for this one, because this is back from my break from this challenge. But let's see. We don't know until we know. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why? I want to use Kaveh. Well, it did suck to lose Kaveh because I did have intentions on using him, and I like him. We could have lost somebody worse. Next we have to do Act 2, and it starts with us fighting the Raiden Shogun. She's never difficult. But in this particular playthrough, she was really easy. What's up with that? Why isn't Archon always easier than some random enemy? Next, we have to do some archery demonstrations for some nerds. This was where Official came into play. Without her, we could have been stuck here. Actually, that's not true, because this event gives you a free Farazan, and it was going on at the time. But still, I would have been stuck until I could get that Farazan. Finally, we have to go to the front lines to fight some soldiers, and these fights make me wonder how the Resistance has been losing the war. Now we get to spin the oval. It's now time to spin the Wheel of Misery! I almost had a heart attack! While this did suck because we lost our last Pyro character, she was the worst of my built characters, so I could deal with this. Also, did you notice how close it was to landing on Kuching? We clear the Ronin around Watatsumi Island with no problems, and then go to do the Electro Monument puzzle. This is the last puzzle that requires a specific kind of character, and luckily we had plenty of Electro characters. We trigger the monuments with Kuching and take out the Electro Lotro that appears. And might I say, Chongyun in the Rain is broken. The fucking bitch dies, and then we go to the Delusion Factory. Since we have a team with a variety of elements that could take down the Fatui member shields, this was a really easy domain. The only room that really gave us problems was the one with the Electro Chisin Mage. The combination of enemies that were on the floor is annoying, but not unmanageable. Now we can take on the people who are really bad at war, and then fight Senora. Is it even worth covering this fight anymore? This fight's never hard. Even in D-Luke only, where she resisted Pyro for most of the fight, she wasn't difficult. So how do you think this will go with a variety of elements, none of which being Pyro? For those of you who answered 2, you're stupid. It was 1. Now we can fight the Raiden Shogun. This was easy. Where is my challenge? Literally the only challenge in this playthrough is mentally. Anyways, that means Act 3 is complete. And you know what that means. Yes! Let's go! Another pretty good loss. Hell yeah. Now I have to do the Dainsleif Chasm quest. And I've already done the Chasm World quest during my break, so we can start the quest immediately. There's nothing really worth commenting on during this quest. Abyss enemies can be annoying and solo challenges, unless you're Hazo. But with full teams, they're never a problem. The only thing substantial about completing this quest is that we have to lose another character. I'm starting to get terrified. We only have 9 characters left, and it's more than a 50-50 chance of me losing a character that I'm using. But I knew this day would come. I just didn't want it to. Why? Why is it always the Electro characters? Do Electro characters just have a curse or something? I have lost all but one of my Electro characters. And that one Electro character will be the character that replaces Kuching, because she's the only character I have that will do well with her artifacts. So Official, welcome to the party. Before starting Act 1 of Sumeru, we got Farazan from the event. We start Act 1 of Sumeru by clearing out a withering zone. I was still getting used to Official at this point, but all that were there were just some fungi and they were all pretty easy. The most questionable part of Genshin Impact was pretty easy, and then we go to Port Ormos to meet Alhaitham. We buy the knowledge capsules from the Spirit of Dori, and then test our power against some fungi. After that, we fight the Eremites at the dock, and none of them were a challenge. Now that Act 1 is complete, we have to lose a character. First loss of Sumeru, let's see who it is. God damn it! God damn it! Oh my god! Losing a character this late into the playthrough is really annoying because that means we have to grind up a whole new character. The character that I chose to replace Xingqiu was Candace. She's Hydro, which means we can just give our Xingqiu's artifacts to her. We start Act 2. We fight the Eremites and they were all pretty easy. Candace's Aegis shield is pretty good at blocking hits and dealing damage. Act 2 is complete, and now, what character are we losing after one of the most grueling Archon quests to replay in the entire game? I don't know, let's see. Your time has come, traveler. You've been embarking on this journey for a long time, but it's now time for you to go. It was about time we lost Lumen. We start Act 3 and meet
The Doctor.
then go to fight some Eremites. What I've realized is that a lot of my characters are not that strong, except for Chongyun. They weren't strong, but they did take a bit to kill. Now we can go to the desert and fight some Rift Hounds, who were fended off by mostly Chongyun. Act 3 is complete, and now we have to sacrifice a character to the wheel. The name of the last Archon quest we just did was Dreams, Emptiness, Deception, which is how I feel about the character we're about to lose. Why? It sucks losing Noelle. Because we had her since before the conclusion of Act 1 of Monstadt, and she was just starting to be used quite a bit. I really don't want to grind up a replacement, so welcome back to the squad, Hazo. The first fight of Act 4 is against the Eremites, and it's here that I'll admit I have no idea how to use Fischl.
Midnight Phantasmagoria!
We fight a bunch of Hilichurls at the entrance of the Ellerzar Hospital, and they were really easily taken out. Now you might think that the Dendro pillars will be a problem because we lost all our Dendro characters. But you can just teleport away, get a Dendrogranum, and quickly teleport back to the pillars. If you're quick enough, you can activate all of them. Sayu's dash really helped with getting to the last one fast enough. The final part of this quest is the King Deshret domain. A lot of the fungi were pretty easy to deal with, even if this room gave me a bit of trouble. I was quickly able to do the puzzles, and Act 4 is complete. Which means we have to lose our last character that'll matter. This is the final wheel spin that matters. Let's see. Yes! Let's go! Yeah! And that was it for rolls. As I said previously, I'm not bringing this challenge into Fontaine, so that was our final risk of losing a character that we're using. Now we just need to clear Act 5. The first part of Act 5 is against the Eremites, and this fight was pretty similar to the one in Act 4. I don't know why I benched Hazo for so long. I had one of his best weapons, Widsith, and he's a pretty strong character. Either way, this fight was pretty easy. Next was the Fatui fight at Party City. We had counters to all the Fatui members that had shields, so none of them were able to keep their bulk. The plot happens, and then we go to the Dias Foundry. But Chongyun wanted to do this by himself. Maybe it was to prove himself, or maybe it was to avenge his friends who didn't make it to the end. After all, he has seen every loss, and has seen the lives of countless team members fall in front of him. last thing we have to do is the boat domain. The Rift Hounds hit me a lot early on, which made my health drain fast, but I was able to recover and take them down. On the boat, we dealt with the frail Hilichurls and got the Liyue stuck in the corner, which allowed us to pummel it into submission. We finished it off with Fischl, and that means that Act 5 is complete. But hey, why not spin the wheel one more time? Even though the challenge is over now, and I'm not going into Fontaine, why not? Let's spin the wheel one more time. I mean, we did complete an Archon quest. I would have been happier if it was a character I wasn't using, but we're not playing this account anymore, so I guess. It did feel kind of bad losing Candace because of how much she helped us through Sumeru, but it didn't really matter. We completed Genshin Impact while losing a character after every Archon quest. Our survivors were Chongyun, Heizo, Fischl, Farazan, and Yunjin. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I got Yunjin. These were the people who were able to survive the wheel, but we won't forget the characters we lost. Amber, Kaya, Benoy, Dory, Lisa, Layla, Kujosara, Kale, Barbara, Kave, Jiangling, Cookie, Kuching, Xingqiu, Lumen, Noelle, Sayu, and Candace. Before we go, let me give you a little bit of statistics. The least safe element to be was Electro, and the least safe weapon to use was a sword. Chongyun was the only character to survive every wheel spin. Amber, Kale, and Kave were the only characters to not survive a single wheel spin, and I ended up losing 8 characters that I was using at the time of their death. In terms of the next challenge, I think I'm going to do another solo challenge, this time with, in my opinion, one of the most boring characters to play, Ningguang. But until then, I'll leave you with that.